Ever wonder why your smartphone seems to slow down just as a new model gets released? It's as if our devices have some kind of internal clock, counting down to their own obsolescence. But what if I told you that it's not a coincidence? This, ladies and gentlemen, is a strategy employed by many companies across different industries. It's known as planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence is the method by which a product's lifespan is deliberately shortened by the manufacturer, encouraging consumers to purchase the next upgrade or model. It's a business strategy ingrained in our consumer culture, pushing us to constantly chase the new, the improved, the latest. From light bulbs to laptops, toys to televisions, this phenomenon has become the norm, not the exception. It's an intricate dance of innovation and expiration, where products are designed to become outdated, either functionally or aesthetically, after a certain period of time. This practice, my friends, is what we call planned obsolescence. How did this all start? Let's take a trip down memory lane. The origins of planned obsolescence can be traced back to the era of the Industrial Revolution. As mass production took hold, manufacturers quickly realized that to keep their factories humming, they needed consumers to buy their products frequently. So they began designing goods with a limited lifespan. This was the birth of functional obsolescence. But it didn't stop there. In the early 20th century, marketers started to play with the idea of perceptual obsolescence. They sold consumers on the notion that they needed the latest and greatest, even if what they had still worked perfectly well. This shift in consumer mindset became a cornerstone of our modern economy. And so the seed of planned obsolescence was planted, and it would soon grow into a towering tree. So, are all obsolescence created equal? Not quite. Let's take a deep dive into two primary forms of planned obsolescence: functional and perceptual. Functional obsolescence refers to when a product becomes obsolete due to its inability to perform its intended function. This could be because it's physically worn out, or perhaps it's no longer compatible with newer systems. An example would be an old printer that can't connect to modern computers. On the flip side, we have perceptual obsolescence. This is when a product is still perfectly functional but is perceived as outdated. This is often driven by changes in style, fashion, or technology. Think about how quickly we shift from one smartphone model to the next, despite the older one still working perfectly fine. In essence, functional obsolescence is about necessity, while perceptual obsolescence is about desire. Both are leveraged by companies to encourage consumers to make repeat purchases. So while both strategies aim to drive sales, they do so in distinct ways. But what does this mean for our planet and our society? Well, the environmental impact of planned obsolescence is significant. This practice contributes to the rapid turnover of goods, leading to increased waste and a higher demand for natural resources. Not to mention the carbon footprint left by manufacturing processes. On the economic front, planned obsolescence can strain consumers' wallets, as they're frequently compelled to replace products. It can drive economic growth by stimulating demand, but it's also a source of financial stress for many. The social repercussions are equally noteworthy. Planned obsolescence perpetuates a consumer culture where we're always chasing the new, the shiny, the upgraded. It feeds into a throwaway society where products are discarded rather than repaired. These impacts are not just isolated ripples in a pond, they're waves in the ocean affecting everything from our environment to our mental well-being. As we can see, the ripple effects of planned obsolescence are far-reaching. But don't despair. There are those who are pushing back. We've seen the rise of consumer movements, organizations, and individuals who are standing up against planned obsolescence. They are challenging companies, demanding greater product longevity and repairability. Take, for instance, the right to repair movement. It advocates for legislation that gives consumers the right to repair their own devices, reducing the need for new products, and pushing back against forced obsolescence. This movement is gaining traction worldwide, with several countries introducing right-to-repair laws. Equally important are regulatory bodies. They are stepping up, enforcing regulations to curb planned obsolescence. The European Union, for example, has implemented measures to ensure products are designed to last longer and be easier to repair, but it's not just about fighting back. There's also a shift towards creating alternatives. One such alternative is the circular economy, an economic system aimed at eliminating waste and the continual use of resources. It encourages the reuse and recycling of products and materials, ultimately reducing the need for new products. And let's not forget the businesses that are bucking the trend. There are companies out there producing durable, long-lasting products. Patagonia, a clothing company, is a prime example. They've built their brand around the idea of sustainability, offering repair services for their products and encouraging customers to buy used items. Then there's Fairphone, a smartphone manufacturer that designs phones to last. They provide spare parts and repair guides, allowing users to extend the life of their phones. This stands in stark contrast to many smartphone companies, which often make it difficult, if not impossible, to repair their products. These are just a few examples of the fight against planned obsolescence. It's a tough road, and change won't happen overnight. But the seeds of change have been planted. It's about awareness. It's about action. It's about consumers making informed choices, companies taking responsibility, and governments enforcing regulations. It's a battle, but with awareness and action we can turn the tide. So, where are we headed from here? The future of planned obsolescence is not set in stone. As we navigate the challenges of this practice, several key factors will shape its trajectory. Firstly, we look towards technological innovations. As we advance into the digital age, more sustainable products and services are being developed. These innovations challenge the status quo of planned obsolescence by extending the lifespan of products or offering upgrades that keep them relevant longer. An example might be modular technology, where components of a device can be individually updated or replaced, reducing the need for completely new products. However, technology is just one piece of the puzzle. Consumer education will also play a pivotal role. As individuals become more aware of the impacts of planned obsolescence, they can make informed decisions about the products they purchase. This could mean choosing items with longer lifespans, or favoring companies that prioritize sustainability over short-term profits. Alongside consumer education, corporate responsibility is also key. Companies have a role to play in curbing planned obsolescence. This could involve designing products to last, offering repair services, or taking back old products for recycling. Some businesses are already adopting these practices, but it will take a broader shift in corporate culture to make a significant impact. Lastly, let's not forget the role of policy and regulation. Governments across the globe have the power to set standards and enforce penalties that discourage planned obsolescence. While some countries have already taken steps in this direction, there is still much ground to cover. The future of planned obsolescence is complex, and it will require a multifaceted approach to address. Technological innovation, consumer education, corporate responsibility, and policy reform all have a part to play. As we move forward, we must continue to question, to challenge, and to innovate. The future may seem uncertain, but one thing is clear. The conversation around planned obsolescence is far from over. So, what have we learned today? We've journeyed through the intricate landscape of planned obsolescence, a concept that's become an integral part of our consumer culture. We've unraveled its definition, a tactic employed by companies to design products with a limited lifespan, aiming to encourage repeat purchases. We dove into the origins of this practice, tracing it back to the light bulb conspiracy of the early 20th century. We saw how it evolved from a strategy to stimulate economic growth during the Great Depression to a pervasive phenomenon in our modern economy. We differentiated between functional and perceptual obsolescence. The former involves products that physically stop working after a certain period, while the latter is about creating a perception of outdatedness, even when the product is still perfectly functional. We examined the environmental impact of planned obsolescence, highlighting the mountains of electronic waste and the depletion of natural resources. We also discussed the social and economic consequences, including the strain on consumers' budgets and the widening of the wealth gap. We explored the fight against planned obsolescence, from consumer awareness movements to technological innovations that extend product life. We delved into the realm of legislation, regulations, and the role of corporate responsibility and ethics in battling this practice. We looked at alternatives to planned obsolescence, like the circular economy, which promotes a cycle of reuse and recycling, and the development of durable and long-lasting products. We also spotlighted the efforts of repair movements and the potential of recycling technologies to oppose planned obsolescence. Finally, we pondered the future perspectives and potential solutions for addressing planned obsolescence. We considered the importance of research, academic studies, and the power of consumer choice in shaping the market. Remember, as consumers, we have the power to shape the market. Let's use it wisely.